Happy January 1st, everyone. It is a brand new year, January 1st, 2025. Somehow we made it. The last several years have been absolutely crazy. And today I wanted to talk about my predictions for 2025 and then also the five biggest flops of last year. Now, there was a lot of flops last year. A lot of movies lost money. And truthfully, on a very serious note, moving into 2025, the next year, this year, one of two things is going to happen. Either the film industry recovers or it continues to spiral down a hole that it will never recover from. Now, there is good news, and I'm going to give you the good news, but I want you to listen to this very carefully. Not only are all of the major companies that we can think of, I've named them all before on this channel, so this is not news to anybody that's been following me for any amount of time, but companies like Paramount, Disney, Universal, you name it, right? All these major studios that have been around, Sony, all these studios that have been around for a long time, are losing so much money and have partnered themselves with criminals, with people that are morally bankrupt. And what that is doing is creating a tipping point that we're on right now, where everything is teetering on this mountaintop, right? And it's about to fall off of the wrong side. And I want you to take me seriously here. Mark my words. Hollywood is about to experience a landmark year where after this year, they will never recover in the current form that it exists in. Hollywood is going to disappear soon in the form that it currently exists. Now, there is good news, and the good news is that there is a new Hollywood that will be formed. And the other good news is that it's going to be a lot better, okay? Now, there will be more on that in the next 6 months, I promise. But the Hollywood that we currently know is going to disappear. There's going to be some things that happen, some people that are outed, some scandals that arise very soon, and some things that happen financially where these studios will never recover, and where a lot of the stars that we grew up watching or are watching currently will probably never work again. Okay? Now, on to the fun stuff, on to the biggest flops of 2024. I know I just hit you with a brick in the face, and I apologize, but I think it is really important for me to lay that foundation January 1st. Right now, as of making this video, it's January 1st, 2025 at 3 o'clock, roughly, 3:20. So I just want that to be out there, and I want that to be really, really clear so that you know that when it happens, we can look back on this and say, oh, we knew it was going to happen, right? So if you don't know these things, if you've never heard this before, share this with a friend or tell me in the comments below whether you think I'm crazy or, hey, maybe this guy's on to something, okay? Now that we've got past that, let's look at the biggest flops of 2024, and which is just a small part of me being able to predict the future in 2025 and beyond with Hollywood. Now, let's jump into number 5 of the 5 biggest flops of 2024. Well, the first one is going to be Borderlands. This movie, this movie really had a very bad year, like really, really bad year. So Borderlands is a game that was pretty darn good, actually, especially the first one was really good. Second one, okay. Third one, okay. So they kind of declined themselves, but the games were always really well received, and they made a ton of money. Now, I believe they may be making another game right now. I'm not 100% positive. I'm not in the game world very much anymore. I'm more in the film side of things. This movie had a budget of about $115 million, and then they spent about 30 to 50 million in budgeting, which is kind of low, actually. It's on the low end. Most movies that are in that budget are spending almost 100 million in marketing, 80 to 100 million. So the box office takes 50% of your money, let's remember. So worldwide, they only made $32 million, almost $33 million. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say $33 million. But their budget alone was 3 times that. almost 4 times that. So this is really bad, especially considering the box office takes 50%. So really, they didn't make 33 million. They really made like 16 and a half, 17 million dollars. And then of course, all the marketing. We're not even going to get into that. They spent more on marketing than they actually made. This is very bad. This is really, really bad. Mega flop. Who produced this actually? I didn't even look. Company information, IMDb Pro. Luckily we have one. Hopefully it'll work. But yeah, Borderlands was a major fail. Believe it or not, this is not the biggest fail of the year. However, this one is pretty darn bad. Now, there's some movies on here that didn't flop financially as bad, but I think for what they were, they should have done much better. Let's jump on to number 4. What is the 4th biggest flop of the year? This is Madam Web. Now, Madam Web is pretty significant because Madam Web sparked the beginning of the ending for the Spider-Man without Spider-Man in it cinematic universe, which, let's face it, should never have existed. But Sony, essentially, if you don't know the backstory, Sony bought the Spider-Man intellectual property from Stan Lee and Marvel years ago because Marvel was in trouble financially. This was before the movies popped off and made, billions and billions of dollars for their studio. So this movie, let's look at the budget real quick of this. Madame Web budget. Okay, $80 million, not including P&A, prints and advertising. We've talked about that before. So P&A is usually about $50 million to $100 million for a movie like this. Let's go on the low end. Let's say it's about $50 million. We'll go back to Madam Web here. They made 100. So if we just do some quick back of the napkin math, 100 plus 50 is 150. Oh, I'm sorry, 80 plus 50, because that was their budget, right? 80 plus 50, 130. 130 million spent. They need to make 2.5, roughly 2.4 times, 2.3 times that back in the box office to succeed. So was this financially successful? No. And it was also less successful because what it ended up doing is killing their next movie, which was Craven. And Craven is an honorable mention on this list. So we'll do Craven later. I didn't have him on the list. He's in the top 10 for sure. Matter of fact, Craven should be up in this list. Let's make it 5 plus 1. Let's look at Craven real quick, because this is bad, y'all. And Madam Web really started the dominoes for Craven. So let's look at Craven real quick. This is your bonus. This is the 5 plus 1. Okay, 52 million worldwide. The only reason I didn't put this in here is because it's still in the box office, so there could be more. That's why I didn't initially just put this in there. But 52 million worldwide. Dude, Craven budget. What's Craven's budget? Yeah, 120 million roughly, 130 million. Probably, what, 50, 60 on P&A. They did really, really bad, dude. They're not going to make any more money either. This is the worst Spider-Man without Spider-Man cinematic universe that should have never existed movie that's ever come out. And it's because Madam Web killed the cinematic universe. Now, let's face it, Morbius was terrible as well. Didn't come out this year. However, Morbius was brutal. And that started the dominoes of trash, right? So then Madam Web came out, and that was even worse than Morbius, if you can even fathom that. And then Craven, which wasn't quite as bad as Madam Web, but was destroyed by Madam Web, and here we are. So Sony, good luck recovering financially from that. They lost a lot of money here, at least 100 million or so, probably more. And that's box office took, out of the 50 million that they made, they took 25 million of that. So it was even more than that. They lost a ton of money on this. So Craven is 5 plus 1. This is the 6th, I guess you could call it. The next one, The Crow. The Crow, as far as actual box office, was abysmal. $24 million is abysmal for a movie that's supposed to be, a theatrical box office hit. It's a remake, which there's 31 remakes. If you didn't see my last video, make sure you go watch that. Embarrassing what Hollywood is reduced to. All of those movies will fail. Almost all of them. Out of the 31, I speculated, I think 2 or 3 of them would actually make money. So it's going to be a really, like I said, landmark year next year for Hollywood. It's going to be very bad. $24 million for The Crow. Let's look at The Crow budget. Movie budget. Let's go 2024 because there's 2 Crows. Okay, 50 million. Yeah, they were giving me the old Crow with Brandon Lee, which was actually a decent movie. This one was just embarrassing movie. Aren't you embarrassed? Yeah, so 50 million here. Again, let's do the math. Spent 50 million, probably another 50 in P&A, maybe 20 or 30 in P&A. It's a little smaller budget film, and they made 12 million back because box office takes half, right? So we got to cut this number in half. So they made 12 million back on 50 plus probably 80 million, 90 million. So really, really bad, really, really bad. Lionsgate took a mega hit here. Okay, boom, boom. Next one on the list, Joker 2. Or Folie à Deux, right? Joker Folie à Deux. So this one, financially speaking, not as bad, but all things considered, the first Joker had a smaller budget, and it went gangbusters because it was actually good. It was actually a super intriguing movie. This one, however, domestically only did 58 million. People loved the first Joker domestically. Okay, let's actually look at the first Joker. Joker domestic did 335 million on a $55 million budget, and over $1 billion on the first one on a $55 million budget. Now this was a box office success. The second one was a musical. What? The worst kind of movie. And it only made 58 domestically. So 335 for the first one, clearly a good movie. 58 domestically. This is a massive failure, y'all. Considering the other one made over $1 billion. This is a massive failure. Nobody wanted a sequel. And then to add insult to injury, they made it a musical. Mega flop. Mega flop. Embarrassing. And then number 1. This one is rough. I almost feel bad about it. Megalopolis. Now, my friend Brian Porzio, really great guy, actually has a small role in this. So I know some people that were in the making of this movie. This is Francis Ford Coppola, I believe. I don't want to get things... I hate getting things wrong because then I look like I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I remember correctly, it's Francis Ford Coppola was the director. Yes, thank you. Okay, I was correct. So it's a tongue twister. Megalopolis was, in my opinion, doomed from the beginning. It is a movie that was supposed to be like 5 hours long, like four hours long, right? This is kind of in the vein of something like the Schneider Cut, right? Where he makes a 4-hour movie and then they change it and reduce it to 2 hours, and then it's embarrassing. Well, this movie had to be 2 hours long because the studios that finally picked it up were like, Francis, we like you, but you can't make a 4-hour movie. Which, if he made the 4-hour version of the movie, you know what? It's probably pretty good. It's probably, I shouldn't say probably. It might be really good. It might be interesting. I'm not going to say probably. However, in the current form, it doesn't make much sense, is not very good. My friend Brian, who's in the movie, secretly walked out after he saw his part. So, wasn't even interesting enough to keep somebody in the movie in the theater. That's why nobody talked about it. That's why nobody liked it. That's why it made 13 million. Oh gosh, it hurts just saying it. 13 million. Well, maybe close to 14 million. But let's look at Megalopolis budget. $120 million. I've heard more than this, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. 120 million USD. They did not spend a ton on advertising. I just don't think they had the money. I think they went over on their budget here, and then they ran out of money. They might have spent 20 million on P&A, 30 million. So let's say 150 million total. I'm gonna just go easy on them. 150 million total. And then it bombed with an abysmal 13 million, dude. Oh my gosh. They'll never recover. I feel like a Tiger King. Like I'll never financially recover from this. So this year has been bad. That's your 5+1. That's your 5+1 for the year. You got 5. You got a bonus with Craven, which really did poorly, and I don't see it changing in the box office. I think they're actually talking about going to streaming already. It's only been on the box office for a couple weeks. They're already like, man, this is bad. We got to just go streaming and recover a little bit of money and then just call it a loss. Sony has canceled the universe, that universe that never needed to exist in the first place, thankfully. So it's Gonzville. But just want to reiterate, y'all, 2024 was, they were coming up to the edge of the tipping point. Now they're on it. 2025 is going to break. It's going to break them. Hollywood is falling down. They're falling off their wall, and they're never going to get back up, just like Humpty Dumpty. Mark my words, but something better is coming. Something better is coming. Something better is coming. And I'm on the forefront of it. I'm on the bleeding edge of it. So more news about that in the next 6 months, I promise. Things are about to get awesome for movies in general. Things are about to change dramatically, and they're not going to be like they used to. The old ways are gone. They can't exist anymore in the same way. So I know this was a wrap-up of last year, a push into the next year. I know I gave you a lot of stuff to think about, and I will bring it full circle this year, I promise. But that's my biggest flops of last year. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe on Rumble, where all of our videos come out first and all of our live streams happen live. Friday, stick around for Make Movies Great Again podcast, where I interview another actor. I believe this week's another actor, and then I have some filmmakers coming up soon as well. But yes, y'all, we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Happy New Year.